They say first impressions are everything, but when Marcus stepped into the lobbies of the Seacliff Inn, he never imagined his entire world would be rocked, and that the very place he'd thought would be a sanctuary would expose ugly truths about prejudice, power, and redemption. Picture this: a stylish boutique hotel perched on a scenic bluff overlooking the ocean, sunlight glinting off polished marble floors, guests milling around with luggage in tow, and the sweet hum of elevator doors opening and closing. Marcus, a professional photographer traveling alone for a destination wedding shoot, pushes open the ornate front door and, pause. He stops and breathes it in, clean, bright, inviting. Then he notices something else. Attention. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's the weight of a bag on his shoulder. Maybe it's the casual glance that lingers just a moment too long. He approaches the front desk with calm confidence, well-adjusted posture, gentle smile, ready to check in, knowing he reserved the penthouse suite weeks ago. This is business class. No haggling. No bargaining. He's paid in full. Everything legal and proper. He lands his backpack on the desk and gives the clerk a friendly greeting. "Hi, I'm Marcus Williams, reservation under that name." Her eyes flick to the screen, surname first, and he catches her split-second pause. His pulse races for a moment, but he covers it. Apologize for nothing, he thinks. He's earned this. The power of presence. The power of proof. Right here, yes, she murmurs, tapping the keyboard, her fingertips hovering above the keys. But something shifts in her expression. Suddenly, her tone changes. "I'm sorry, Mr. Williams. We don't have a record of your reservation." She frowns, still typing. Marcus raises an eyebrow. "I thought it was booked under Williams' penthouse suite 2 nights, he clarifies. She gives a half shrug as though warding off an inconvenient truth. "I'll check again." Then silence. A long, unsettling gap in the lobby's soft humming. Guests streaming in and out, oblivious. Then, "I'm very sorry, sir, but it does appear that we are fully booked." Full stop. No trace. No list. "Did you perhaps book under a different name?" she asks. Marcus tries again. "No, but I have confirmation email." He reaches into his pocket, pulls out his phone, thumbs to the app. He hands it over. She takes it and scans it. She blinks once, twice. Her shoulders tense. Then, "It seems, we are unable to honor this reservation." She's an inch away from panic, but frames it in professional neutrality. A polite refusal. But for Marcus, the moment freezes in his chest. This is not clerical error. No. He knows better. Meanwhile, across the lobby, 2 guests, likely travelers returning from the beach, watch him. They shift their bags. He crosses his arms, nodding to himself. "Don't be intimidated. You know your truth. You paid. You're reserved. You're here." "What is going on?" he asks softly. The clerk swallows. We don't have any rooms." Another false statement. Marcus catches her mistake, but he stays calm. The confirmation shows paid in full. Penthouse suite for 2 nights. She shakes her head. "I'm very sorry, sir." Marcus asks to speak with the manager, voice low but firm. She hands him a card with contact details for a manager named Mr. Crawford, but says he's off-site tonight, and that she can have someone call him. Of course he would be off-site. This is theater. He asks to see the manager or owner in person. She hems and haws. "I'm sorry, sir. I can have someone call you," he cuts in. "I want someone now. Please." Another pause, longer, uneasy. Finally, "Please step over there. I'll call someone from upstairs." Marcus positions himself near the lounge chairs, scans the lobby as if seeing it for the first time. The design is exquisite, honed wood, potted orchids, recessed lighting. But everything is tainted now. He's an outsider here. He knows it. He feels it deep under his skin. Then a voice crackles near the reception desk. "I'm on my way down." It's muffled. Not authoritative, but with weight. With emotion. Marcus exhales silently. The tension colors the air around him. The clerk resumes normal duties, answering another guest check-in as though nothing is happening. But everyone senses the disturbance. Moments later, footsteps from the grand staircase. They approach. And then he sees him. A tall, well-dressed man in his mid-50s, hair slicked back, a crisp shirt and tailored blazer. Seacliff's owner, Victor Drake. The man's eyes narrow slightly when they land on Marcus. This is why he'd stepped down from the manager's meeting. He sensed trouble. Or maybe he'd been alerted. But there's calculation in that gaze, a blend of curiosity and alarm. Victor Drake pauses at the foot of the staircase, scanning faces. His eyes flash between the clerk, still carefully cordial, and Marcus standing silent. Something clicks. He strides forward. "I'm Victor Drake, owner of this establishment. How can I help?" His voice is measured, deep, smooth. But there's steel in the tone. Marcus steps forward. "I'm Marcus Williams. I have a reservation, penthouse suite." He hands over the phone with the confirmation email. Victor accepts it, inspects it swiftly, and his eyes flick to the clerk, who is watching anxiously behind the desk. Victor's face gives nothing away. He smiles faintly. "Miss?" She gives her name. He nods, then turns back to Marcus. "Mr. Williams, I am deeply sorry for this inconvenience." He offers an apology that feels genuine. Marcus forces himself to hold the calm. "I'm just trying to check in, sir." Victor nods. "Of course. I will personally see to it that your reservation is honored." He signals to the clerk, lowers his voice. "Rekey the penthouse. Make sure it's ready. Now." The clerk snaps to it. Then Victor looks back at Marcus. "I apologize again. Please wait here. I'll escort you to your room personally." He glances around at other guests, takes a breath. Then reaches behind him and makes a discreet call on his cell. "Yes, upstairs, everybody now." Just a handful of moments later, hotel staff appear in the lobby, bellhops, housekeepers, receptionists, all gathering near the desk, glancing at each other. A strange energy pulses. Victor turns back. "I've reshuffled a few bookings. Your penthouse is ready." He gestures. "This way, please." As Marcus follows, the guests pause mid-conversation, eyes following. They sense a story unfolding, even if they don't know its contours. The air feels electrically charged. But then, just as Marcus steps forward to ascend the staircase, Victor stops in his tracks. His phone rings again. He glances at the display and his expression hardens. He drops his voice, says "understood," and ends the call, his face now set. Marcus stops too, confused. Victor's eyes meet his for a split second, and Marcus reads trouble in them. They wait there in silence. Then Victor's phone chimes again with a message. He leans in close and whispers, quiet but firm, "Mr. Williams, I need you to wait here for a moment. I'll be right back." He glances at the gathering crowd. None of them know the details, but whispers begin. Marcus nods slowly. He watches Victor stride toward a side door labeled "Staff Only," a door that shuts behind him with a solid click. Moments pass. Marcus stands alone under the chandelier, heart thumping. His mind races. What was in that call? Why the sudden team huddle? Why delay? What? Then he feels a presence. The clerk approaches, voice trembling just a bit. "Sir, I wanted to say, I'm sorry. I didn't." Before she can finish, Victor emerges again, but not alone. He's flanked by two men in suits. Not staff uniforms. Serious expressions. Security. Private detail. Agents maybe. Photographers and guests look around. Victor approaches Marcus and motions to the security. They flank behind Marcus, steady but not aggressive. Victor's face is pale, voice low. "Mr. Williams, I regret to inform you that there's been an unexpected." He pauses. The tension coils tight in the air. "We cannot allow you to stay at this time." Marcus feels the color drain from his face. Shock and disbelief collide. This time it's not clerical error. This time, it is a refusal, denied. Explicit. Formal. A dismissal that pierces deeper. Marcus steps back, breathing fast. "What are you? Why?" Victor raises a hand. "Please let me explain, but first we need to ask you to leave the premises." The words hit him like a blow. Behind him, the lobby quiets. People stop talking. Even the laughter from the lounge area dims. This moment ripples outward. Marcus stands frozen, bag in hand, escaping dreams in his palm. Suddenly the media arrives. A camera crew, lights, microphones, reporters, burst through the doors. They swarm. Some catch Marcus's face, wide-eyed. Others aim at Victor's entourage. The panic that freezes Marcus now shifts. He's broadcast. This is on camera. His story, his truth, his fight, all going live. He looks at Victor. Victor straightens. Clears his throat. "Ladies and gentlemen," he says into the mic, "we are experiencing an unfortunate situation tonight. the tone hints at spin control. Marcus's head spins. He's a photographer, used to capturing others. Never himself. But now the lens is on him and it burns. His brain snaps into action. Speak up. Stand up. Document. Expose. He glances at the camera. Draws a slow breath. Then he steps forward into the light. He raises his voice, steady, resonant. I have a paid reservation confirmation email, and yet I'm being denied, because of the color of my skin. The lobby hushes. A ripple of gasps. The reporters lean in. Victor straightens. His suit immaculate. His voice smooth. I'm sorry that Mr. Williams feels that way, but we have our reasons. The press scribbles. The questions fly. Mr. Drake, what reasons? A reporter pushes. How can you deny a booked guest? Another asks, stern, is this racial discrimination? Victor smiles thinly. Our reasons are private. Another gasp. The clerk pulls back, tears in her eyes, hands clutched. Marcus's mind races. He wants to call a lawyer. He wants this place shut. He wants accountability. But for now he stands his ground. The reporters feed off his presence. He's speaking out, naming the injustice. He expects that moment to start a firestorm. An outcry. A reckoning. And then, in the throng, emerges a figure from the shadows unnoticed until now, who sweeps through security and journalists, camera in hand, a social media influencer with 1 million followers. She's wearing the hotel's complimentary robe, a staff badge pinned to her lapel. She's filming live, capturing everything. Her face is intense. She winds around Marcus, murmuring, tell them what happened. He steps forward, shoulders squared. She cues him. He reports step by step. Reservation, confirmation email, check-in denied, refuses to explain why. Delivery play is already lighting up the net. Push notifications. Outrage. Victor's expression flickers from composed to cornered. He's feeling real heat. He looks behind at his security. He glances at the clerk. She's sinking. She can't meet anyone's eyes. She wants to say something. She's ready to cry. But she's holding back. Victor regains composure. Then, like a stage director, he raises a hand. Enough, he says sharply. Thank you all. Security, take Mr. Williams out. The agents move, strategy in motion. Marcus grips his bag. Reporters swarm, flashes igniting. The influence girl continues filming. He's being escorted out now. Shock is written across his face, but he doesn't budge. They place firm hands on his arm. It's forceful but not cruel. He resists. The crowd hollers, some hiss. The camera swings. This confrontation unfolds live. Victor steps forward to address everyone. This establishment will continue operations. We apologize for the disruption. We ask for your privacy. He glances at the influencer holding the mic. This is a private matter. She shakes her head. No, it's not. Her follow count ticks up by thousands. Marcus is pulled through the doors into the cool night air. The press throng behind. He's guided down the approach toward the valet area where his black car waits. They push him in. The door closes with a snap. Immediately the car pulls away. The press swarm surrounds it. Reporters splay across the windshield. Cameras flash. Live streams carry his voice. He stands up through the sunroof, shoulders high, fists on the roof, eyes fierce as he yells, "This is what denial looks like. But I'm not backing down." The car speeds off. Through the tinted glass, he sees the hotel facade receding. He watches Victor standing on the porch, arms folded, face unreadable as the press bustle around him. Then the car turns and disappears into the night, leaving the lobby and Victor behind in swirling controversy. The video goes viral. The influencer's live feed hits tens of thousands in minutes. Hashtags trend. The news cycle ignites. Legal experts pop up online. Anti-discrimination advocates rally. And amidst the digital storm, Marcus emerges a reluctant symbol of real-world injustice, but also of self-respect, truth, and resistance. Now back in his car, Marcus's heart pounds. He feels the adrenaline, the fear, the rush of vindication. His phone explodes with messages, support, outrage, concerned friends. Reporters call. He hesitates. Then one winks at him from the dashboard camera. Want to say more? Slowly he nods. He opens his mouth to speak. He begins, "This isn't just about one hotel. It's about a system that allows these moments to occur. A system that tells people like me, he pauses, how to finish. He thinks about the clerk, her face, her apology. He thinks about the influencer who captured it. He thinks about the guest silent. He thinks about the messages in his phone. He thinks about tomorrow. And then he stops talking. Because he knows the next step is coming. He knows that this fight has only just begun. There's a lawsuit. There's media coverage. Policy talk. And he has to decide, will he take this fight beyond social media? Will he face off in court? Or will he seek personal resolution one-on-one with the hotel owner, man-to-man? The driver glances back. They pull into a dim garage. Marcus steps out into low lighting, reporters milling just outside shouting questions. He steps forward. Lights flare again. The driver hands him a press buffer, a small temporary platform. Cameras record every move. Marcus sets his feet, swallows, and steps up. He begins, "My name is Marcus Williams. Tonight I was denied a hotel room. I was denied refuge. But I am not denied dignity." He pauses. He lifts his chin. Eyes blazing. The press scribes intensify. He continues, "Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more powerful stories that uplift Black voices and expose hidden truths. I was denied refuge. But I am not denied dignity." The camera shifted. Experts, advocates, reporters all lining up for the next soundbite. That's where we pick things up. The influencer's live stream exploded across platforms. Within minutes, dozens of other journalists joined the coverage. A cascade of tweets, Instagram stories, news segments. Viewers watched as Marcus stood firm on that press buffer, dignity personified. He spoke not just for himself but for those who'd been pushed aside, dismissed, erased. He spoke of laws, public accommodations, civil rights, and systemic refusal. One penthouse suite was never just about comfort. It was about acceptance, fairness, equality. Back at the hotel, Victor Drake paced. He was watching this unfold in near real time from his office, replaying footage as clips went viral. A senior advisor hovered just outside. They whispered about lawyers' PR statements. He punched his phone. "We need legal counsel now." The advisor nodded. Victor swallowed. He'd seen this before. One viral moment could destroy years of brand equity. But this was deeper. Race, power, denial. At that moment, his door banged open. The clerk, her name was Olivia, stood there shaking. She held a printed email with words she couldn't erase. "I'm sorry," scrawled in pen. Victor silenced her before she could speak. He took the note. Then sent her out. "Stand down. Don't talk to anyone." But Olivia had already been talking, to housekeeping, to Bell staff. She confessed, "I couldn't do it. I saw what you did." She meant denying Marcus, then calling for security. She meant hiding. She meant internal compliance breaking. Victor stared at her. Betrayal and guilt coated his expression. Meanwhile, in Marcus's camp, lawyers pitched in. Within the car's back seat, Marcus watched the news roundup with rising intensity. Protests ignited on social media. #DignityDenied began trending. Organizations, NAACP, ACLU-type groups, posted solidarity statements. Calls for lawsuits, corporate boycotts, legislative hearings. Marcus leaned forward. "We're live in 10, the producer whispered. His lips curved in a solemn nod. He had to respond, but how much would he push? 3 days later. The hotel reopened. The lobby had changed. Staff looked shell-shocked. New temporary sign, Seacliff Inn, "We regret last week's incident." Reporters packed the entrance. A banner across Instagram, "Marcus Williams, lawsuit filed. Seacliff owner under fire." Victor emerged, surrounded by attorneys and PR flacks, eyes resolute, jaw tight. He cleared his throat and spoke into a camera barrage. "I want to apologize, truly apologize, for how Mr. Williams was treated. We are reviewing our policies. We've begun retraining staff. I am committed to making this right." At that moment, hooked, live, anticipating, he paused and dropped a bombshell. "I have just terminated every staff member involved in that incident." Cut to silence. The reporters froze. A collective intake of breath rippled through the crowd. Inside the hotel, those staffers were already packed up. Olivia was gone. The bellhops were gone. Security guards and front desk personnel, All had handed in keys, badges. Some tearful. Some relieved. Some defiant. News outlets flashed their pictures. Fired amid backlash. Scapegoats or necessary sacrifice? Victor watched each clip. His jaw tightened. He thought, this doesn't fix it. You can fire people, replace them, but you can't fix optics with optics. He booked flights, to Washington, to his board, to testify, to explain how a simple reservation became a symbol of institutional failure. In his office, Marcus prepared. He had a lawsuit drafted. Violation of Civil Rights Act, emotional trauma, defamation. He'd assemble not just as plaintiff but a precedent seeker. Someone who could challenge policies that allowed a clerk to erase a reservation based on bias. His legal team had lined up expert witnesses, anti-racism advocates, compliance consultants, civil rights attorneys. A public hearing was being requested. Then came a ping. The influencer sent a direct message. She'd captured phone records between Victor and a high-level supply chain exec. In one voicemail, Victor had threatened to blacklist any hotel that checked Marcus in. He'd said, "This guy can't stay anywhere. You understand me?" Shock hit Marcus. This was premeditated, not snap judgment. He stared at the message. He replayed the segment. His heart pounded. This evidence would break the case wide open. But it also meant taking everything public. Whether Victor's private calls, whether clarity or chaos would follow. He thought of Olivia. Would she testify? Reporters already reached out to her. Would she speak out, or had she signed an NDA alongside her pink slip? He thought of the influencer, ally-turned-partner, who'd risked her career live-streaming the moment. Would she share the full recording? Outside, protesters began gathering in front of Seacliff Inn. Signs appeared, dignity not denial. Seacliff, change or closure. Lawyers arrived on both sides. Reporters assembled. It felt like a breaking legal drama, one where everyone could shift space in the next scene. Marcus inhaled. He knew part two had been building. Now he had to decide, would he go all in, file suit, hold press conference, subpoena the phone records? Or would he try an alternate route? Mediation? A personal meeting with Victor? A private apology? Meanwhile, Victor watched the protests from his car. He'd parked. He stared at the hotel facade. Insurance agents, risk analysts, PR firms, everyone telling him one thing. This story is alive. This story will define you. Are you ready to fight or fold? In the interview room, Marcus sits before 5 lights and 17 microphones. Cameras roll. He clears his throat. This isn't just my story, this is our story. We stand at a crossroads. We demand not just apologies but policy change. We demand consequences. I have proof of intent. Will justice follow intention? Silence. The room holds its breath. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more powerful stories that uplift Black voices and expose hidden truths. Marcus sat before that wall of microphones, the influencer's audio recorder blinking red, each second chronicling the tension. Behind him, lawyers nodded approvingly. Reporters leaned in. In that moment, hundreds of thousands of eyes watched live as he dropped the truth bomb. This voicemail wasn't just leaked, it proves premeditation. The owner threatened to blacklist me. Not because of any booking error but because of my skin. Gasps echoed. His legal team beside him leaned in, whispering. Marcus swallowed, scanning the room. Olivia's seat behind a velvet rope, the influencer with her phone ready, and even the clerk who'd tried to stop her from filming. They were here. Allies and witnesses. A journalist's hand shot up. Mr. Williams, what's next? He paused. A federal civil rights lawsuit. Summons issued. Admin complaint pending. The room erupted into a flurry of questions. As he concluded, Olivia rose. She approached the mic. I want to testify, she said, voice low but steady. The influencer trained her camera on Olivia. Marcus met her gaze, nodding. Olivia swallowed. I heard Victor's voicemail. I tried to stop him, he warned me. Then he fired me. She paused. I'll speak what I know in court. Silence. Then the room released its collective breath. Cameras clicked. Marcus looked at Olivia, gratitude and resolve shining in his eyes. She had delivered the final missing piece, an insider's testimony. Across town, Victor Drake paced the hotel's executive boardroom. The walls were lined with stock certificates and framed awards. He ran a hand through his hair. Behind him, 3 screens flashed. The viral social feed, trending legal hashtags, and news anchors referencing Constantine v. Imperial Hotels Ltd., 1944, reminding him that innkeepers have a duty to accept all guests unless lawful cause exists. His general counsel cleared her throat. We need a counter-narrative. We own all media rights to the voicemail. We can claim it was taken out of context. Victor says, anyone trying this stunt, rather than the guest specifically. Victor stopped pacing. He stared at the screen showing Olivia's live feed. Then he nodded. Bring in our industry ally. The next morning, a press conference was scheduled at Seacliff Inn. The influencer, invited to speak on Marcus's side, stood poised, 2 blocks away. The journals, the camera crews, and activists gathered in anticipation. Meanwhile, inside the hotel's lower lobby, Victor stood at a wooden podium. On either side, the hospitality industry power broker he'd flown in overnight, a respected lobbyist with contacts in Congress, and a freshly composed diversity task force of consultants in matching black blazers and crisp shirts. The broker cleared his throat. We stand by the principles of hospitality. Mr. Drake acted defensively to protect brand equity. The voicemail was ambiguous. Background noise, questionable audio quality. Victor spoke, calm, contrite, strategic. We will settle. We offer Mr. Williams a full financial settlement, a permanent board-level position on our D&I committee, and a $500,000 fund for black-owned hotels in the region. Murmurs. Cozy optics. But across town, the influencers and Marcus's team watched, some envisioning compromise, others itching for deeper accountability. Suddenly Marcus's phone buzzed. His lead counsel whispered, "There's more." In his inbox, security footage from the penthouse elevator, the moment the reservation was erased from the system before Olivia even typed it. Timestamped. Unedited. Undeniable. Marcus inhaled. He looked up at the influencer's livestream screenshot, now showing Victor's settlement speech. Reporter questions flooded in. Is this an admission of guilt? Will you accept? Marcus stared at the elevator tape. He tapped the mic, cameras pivoted. He launched. Ladies and gentlemen, after hearing their proposal, there's more I want you to see. He hit play on a screen he'd wheeled into view. Olivia at the front desk, clicking erase, the reservation disappearing, and a manager's hand hovering, then covering her screen. The crowd leaned forward. The broker looked stunned. Victor froze. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more powerful stories that uplift black voices and expose hidden truths. Marcus stood at the podium, the room hushed and cameras primed. Behind him, Olivia's damning testimony and the elevator footage had shattered any doubt. Seacliff's refusal was orchestrated, not accidental. The broker and Victor's team exchanged uneasy glances. The formerly polished offer of a $500,000 fund now felt hollow. His voice resonated. We have choices, to accept a settlement that compensates me, or to demand systemic change. This fight isn't just personal, it's foundational. He paused. From Constantine versus Imperial Hotels in 1944 to Heart of Atlanta Motel in 1964, history makes clear. Discrimination in public accommodations is illegal, and victims have remedy. Gasps rippled. Some in the press nodded, others scribbled fast. The hotel broker cleared his throat, stepping forward to counter. Ladies and gentlemen, with respect to historical cases, this industry has evolved. Mr. Drake was responding to brand protection, not racism. He gestured to Victor, who held the contentious voicemail. The context matters. He paused. But no one here disputes racism exists. Let's solve this, not litigate it. Marcus glanced at his counsel. His lead attorney whispered, there's more. They offered mediation, private terms, gag order. Their board wants control. Marcus nodded. He addressed the audience. If this ends privately, with no transparency, no policy guarantees, how will we know change truly happened? Just then Olivia stepped up beside Marcus. Flashbulbs popped. She gripped his arm. I was fired for trying to stop them. I stand with Marcus, not for money but because no one else should be erased like that. Reporters surged forward. Victor's broker faltered. A murmur spread. Had Seacliff just lost the narrative war? That evening in his car, Marcus reviewed the day's audio. Then a new message popped up, encrypted from the civil rights powerhouse rumored to enter the fray. I'll meet you in D.C. Thursday. Don't sign anything. 3 days later at Seacliff's boardroom, Victor stared across the table exhausted. Across from him, his general counsel, the hospitality broker, and a tall, poised woman who entered last, accompanied by 2 assistants. They wore tailored suits and carried law folders, authority incarnate. She set down a file labeled Williams versus Seacliff. Victor froze. She introduced herself. I'm Pamela Yates, former assistant AG for civil rights, now with the firm Reed & Brooks. I represent Mr. Williams. The room crackled. Victor swallowed. The hospitality lobbyist stiffened. The broker looked shocked. Counsel cleared her throat. Pamela continued, We've accepted your historical apology and the offer of funds, but under 2 conditions. 1. Public disclosure of all internal communications regarding Mr. Williams's reservation. 2. Binding policy changes including staff training and independent oversight. Additionally, we demand a public press conference in D.C., and the elevator footage released unedited. Papers shuffled. The broker hissed, This is beyond negotiation. Pamela paused. Accept, or we proceed to federal court. You know the precedents. She tapped the Constantine judgment. Damages may be nominal then, unless we prove damages. But the greater remedy is injunctive, permanent reform. Victor looked at the broker, then Pamela. He glanced at the hospitality consultant beside him. No one spoke. He realized here in this room a line had been crossed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more powerful stories that uplift Black voices and expose hidden truths. Victor sat across from Pamela Yates in the boardroom, flanked by his legal and PR teams. The air was electric. In Pamela's hand rested the final piece of their case, an affidavit from an anonymous whistleblower, Olivia's colleague, confirming that the reservation had been erased at Victor's direct instruction. This was the final admission of intent. Pamela spoke slowly, Mr. Drake, this affidavit confirms your voicemail and internal decision. A federal judge won't hesitate to enforce transparency or award punitive damages for premeditated discrimination. She paused, letting the words hang. Victor exhaled slowly, the weight of mounting legal exposure pressing. He pressed his palms to the polished table. What if? Pamela leveled her gaze. We proceed. Court doesn't settle for optics. Constantine v. Imperial Hotels established that innkeepers owe a duty indivisible from dignity, even if damages are nominal, your actions violated that duty irreparably. And Heart of Atlanta confirms that your hotel, serving interstate clientele, is subject to Title II of the Civil Rights Act. Victor bowed his head. Conflict in his eyes, fight or fold. Outside, protest signs carried across news networks. Inside, his empire trembled. 2 days later in federal court, an auditorium brimming with journalists, lawyers, activists, and hotel executives witnessed the hearing. Pamela strode forward as Marcus stood behind her. His gaze sharpened. The judge banged the gavel. Case called, Williams versus Seacliff Inn. Counsel, proceed. Pamela laid out the sequence. The reservation, voicemail, erased booking, Olivia's testimony, whistleblower affidavit, and elevator footage. She referenced Constantine. Violation of dignity alone is injury. She invoked Heart of Atlanta. No right to discriminate, regulated public accommodations under interstate commerce. The courtroom buzzed. Victor's counsel rose, attempting to reframe everything as brand protection. But faced with documentary and testimonial evidence, their defense crumbled. Judge Allen paused before delivering her ruling. The courtroom stilled. Every eye locked on her. Then she spoke. The court finds in favor of Mr. Williams. Seacliff violated federal and common law obligations. The court orders. 1. A permanent injunction requiring Seacliff to publish all internal communications regarding Mr. Williams and discrimination policies. 2. Mandatory, court-approved training for all staff nationwide. 3. $250,000 in compensatory damages to Mr. Williams. 4. $1 million in punitive damages, reflecting premeditated conduct. 5. Publication of the full whistleblower affidavit on the company website for 1 year. 6. A public apology signed by Mr. Drake, to be displayed prominently on Seacliff's site for 2 years. The judge closed the gavel. The room erupted, some cheered, others silent. Marcus exhaled. His team embraced. Olivia wept. But in Seacliff's offices, Victor stood amidst empty desks and packing boxes. Staff had already left. He stared at a draft press release. I apologized unreservedly. He felt hollow. He walked to the lobby alone. The grandeur now felt empty. A single sign, "We regret last week's incident," hung crooked, bathed in late light. He reached up and straightened it, then turned away. Outside, Marcus and Pamela exited the courthouse. The influencer livestreamed as cameras flashed. He spoke, "We won, not for me but for everyone. This is a mandate, dignity matters. Rights matter. We change systems." Olivia joined them. Their arms around each other, they spoke as one. Prejudice may wear a polished facade, but every act of discrimination leaves a recorded trail, seen, heard, proven. The law, anchored in precedent, from Constantine to Heart of Atlanta, acts not only to compensate, but to demand dignity, transparency, and systemic reform. True justice arrives not through silence or settlements, but through courage, evidence, and collective resolve. Even one person standing firm can dismantle walls of privilege, echoing across history and into policy, so no one else must face denial and darkness. The end. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more powerful stories that uplift Black voices and expose hidden truths.